So let's talk a little about retailing and wholesaling strategies. This is a chart from your book where they talk about the idea of retailing strategy focusing on two factors, both retail store positioning and retailing mix. And of course, you talk about the 4 P's that we talked about before: product, price, promotion, and place. And at the same time, the idea of the retailing mix in terms of the merchandise that the store is going to carry and how we're going to manage that store. And of course, then there are 4 elements that the retailing strategy is interested in: retail pricing, store location, retail communication, and merchandise. Now, your book talks a lot about retail pricing and that you can be a low price retailer, a value priced retailer, or a prestige priced retailer. They talk about store locations in terms of where that store might be located. Of course, today many stores are located on the interweb, on the internet. They talk about retail communications. That is how you're going to communicate this, whether you're going to do most of your communications via traditional media, print, radio, television, or with new digital media. And then, of course, the issue of merchandise. What kind of merchandise you're going to carry, how broad a line, and how many lines, and how deep each line is going to be in your total assortment. Now, who do retailers have to compete with today? Well, the battle gets tougher every day, right? There are bricks-related retailers that you have to deal with. That is, you have to deal with other traditional retailers. You have to deal with those category killers that we talked about. You have to deal with superstores. And then we have online competition. And of course, we have the traditional online retailers where the retailer sells their own products online. And then there's this new category called online merchants, okay? And this is probably one of the keys to the future of modern retailing. And that is, online merchants don't actually sell so much of their own goods as what they do is they tend to sell lots of other companies' goods. And so eBay, Amazon, even Walmart.com, if you go to Walmart.com's website, they sell Walmart goods, but then they sell another wide variety of goods. So does Best Buy, so does Etsy, and companies like that. So they're not just online retailers selling their own products. They're online merchants selling both their products and lots of other products that they don't carry in their general retail stores. Now, in terms of types of retailers, this is kind of an important chart here. You ought to take a little look at this chart. In terms of total retail sales, we're at the $4.8 billion in retail sales a year. 395 million of that is in e-commerce, and 123 million of that is in m-commerce or mobile. You might notice by this chart that while the retail business is growing very moderately at about the growth of our economy, around 1 to 2% a year, e-commerce has been growing consistently at 15+% a year, and the m-commerce has been growing at more than 30% a year. And so you see the real growth in retailing is in e-commerce and, of course, mobile commerce. A couple of lessons learned, okay? Well, all retailing revenues were $4.8 billion. 8% of those sales are in online, and 2.5% of those sales are in fact mobile. So as mobile and online retail sales become a larger and larger part of the total retailing sales, the competition and the strategies necessary to be successful shift. Company can virtually no longer afford to be a company that does nothing at all online. An example of this is Land's End, which is which has competition from specialty stops, mass merchandisers, clothing brands and chains, and of course now internet retailers. And so Land's End has to face competition from all sides. Their solution to that is provide better utility, position themselves in a way that creates value, and differentiate themselves in terms of their retail experience in a way that consumers prefer the Land's End experience over the Banana Republic, the Limited, the LL Bean, the J. Crew experiences, so that they end up with those sales. Another little thing to talk about, while we talked about online competition, there is other competition in other non-store retailers, including home shopping networks, telemarketing, direct selling. Direct selling includes people like Mary Kay. Direct mail, you still probably get some direct mail and some direct catalogs. And then, of course, automatic vending for companies like Redbox. The future changes in retailing, well, more and more retailers are going to have multi-channel. That is, they're going to have to be bricks and clicks and a number of other ways to get products to customers. So the idea of simply being a traditional mom and pop retailer on the corner of your small hometown, that era is actually starting to go away. The other key that I think that's a future issue in retailing is managing the retailing customer experience. That is, when I go to Whole Foods, why am I willing to pay more money for the products at Whole Foods? Well, in many cases, we might think that the products are better quality. They've been screened by the Whole Foods people, and so there's a merchandising value in there. But then there's also this notion of the fact that Whole Foods is perhaps a more full-service retailer and willing to provide me with additional information, but also I might be willing to pay more because I like the Whole Foods experience better than I like the Vons or Food for Less or Smith's experience.